I must have made at least $500 million of martial arts.
Break down what you're looking to stack your portfolio with.
I don't understand gold. I do not understand watches. I don't even wear a watch. So I invest in supercars and real estate. End of.
When your businesses are cash flowing like they are now, with all these schools, they're all cash flowing, all the franchise fees, everything else that's going on, all this money's coming into you, what are you doing with it?
I don't believe in all this high ticket sales nonsense, and don't need all this information, a course to this, a course to that, a course. You just got to do one thing and do it over and over and over and over again. And that's consistency. That's the key to success in anything, whether it's training, business, making money and so forth.
You went from being like someone who's in martial arts, a bodyguard for Micheal Jackson, then you pivot from that and build this whole array of entrepreneurial success on the back of that.
Micheal was just another level, and I've never seen that with Britney Spears or anyone else. He was the master at brand building, manipulation and staying relevant. It got him. He got too famous. He got too powerful. He owned half of Sony Music, and no one can compete with you when you've got that kind of brand power. Everyone talks about personal brand. Forget about that. You need to have that power to dominate the news.
And we are back in Dubai, and I'm excited to bring you this one because this man here that I'm about to bring you has established and built a property portfolio worth over 80 million in the UK, and that is no mean feat. Matt Fiddes, welcome to the podcast and welcome to Dubai.
Thanks for having me on, Frankie. We made it happen.
We made it happen. We tried to get this done in the UK a few times. We've tried when I've been back and forth a few times from America and everywhere else, but we've got it done today. What first impressions for you in Dubai? Because obviously it's your first time. What are you kind of thinking of the place?
Yeah, I like it. It's very lively. I think it's like the Mecca for entrepreneurship and business. Everyone's here. Who's anyone? My wife likes it. She likes the Dubai Mall. She's there every single day. I've never seen a place like that, so busy and so big, open Sunday nights. Beautiful buildings and architecture. It's what amazes me about this country is you go around, there's no potholes, no one's speeding, there's no chewing gum on the floor. Then you compare it to home, London.
Yep.
And you think, what's going on? I mean, they don't have tax here, whereas we get taxed to death in the UK.
Yeah.
What's going wrong? What's missing?
And it's amazing that you say that because obviously you've been on a hell of a journey really when you actually break it down. And one of the things I didn't want to say in the intro, but obviously we're going to touch across it is in the podcast is obviously you went from being like someone who's in martial arts, a bodyguard for Micheal Jackson, then you pivot from that and build this whole array of entrepreneurial success on the back of that. I kind of want to give you the chance to articulate your own story rather than being kind of like put to the sword with it and kind of I want you to articulate it.
Yeah. Well, I was just bullied at school, Frankie, at 5 years old. And like anyone who's successful, you'll always find there's a pain point. Normally they're bullied at school, they're overweight at school, they're teased. There'd be something in the childhood that spurs them on. So for me, the bully was my best friend because if it wasn't for that bully, then I would have looked to do martial arts, looking to defend myself. At school, I was always being told, you're no good, you can't do this, your handwriting is terrible, you can't draw dinosaurs properly, you're stupid, sort it out. And I just tried to come up with all these excuses not to come to school anymore, trying to convince my mother that I was not feeling very well and so on. And whenever you complain about the bully, it was like a vicious cycle. It would then go to the head teacher, then the head teacher would tell the parents off and then give him a slap and then it'll come round and it'll be even worse. So that was the start. And I don't regret that because I used that as the catalyst to motivate me to go and search out martial arts. And if it wasn't for that bully, I wouldn't be where I am now. In fact, he actually works for us now. He's my anti-bully ambassador. He made touch 34 years later, would you believe? We met on national TV in the UK for the first time. And he's a wonderful guy. And I always tell him, if it wasn't for you, then none of this would have happened. Micheal Jackson stuff, the property, the business, the entrepreneurship. And it's an inspiring story to tell. And I think the whole bullying side of things, it never stops anyway. Even now, 44, there'll be people talking about me on Google, Instagram, Twitter at the moment while we're doing this podcast. I mean, people are always going to hate on you. They're always going to talk about you, but that's the real thing to success. So you've got to use that as your motivation. And I've always learned early on by surrounding myself with the right mentors that they are your free publicists. They're the people who are going to make you where they are. And if people are not talking about you, or not talking bad about you, then there's something wrong. You're not doing something right. Yeah. So I measure my success now by the negative comments that I get and the hate and the trolling, because that's the only way it works. If you want a story to go viral, design the story so that everyone will hate on it and it'll go viral around the world, social media or mainstream media.
It was amazing you say that, because I was speaking to a social media guy called Ty Lopez, and he's done very well in business, and he was one of the first internet kind of viral marketers. He did a video on YouTube years ago. Here I am in my garage with his Ferrari, and he was talking about books and mentorship. That was that guy. And he was saying to me that he, similar to you, he measures his success by and his virality by how much hate he's getting in the comments, and if he isn't getting enough hate, then he's not polarizing enough. And you've got to understand this in this social media game. When you're getting that hate and you're getting people arguing in the comments, that pushes your content further, which allows you to touch many more lives than what you'd touch if you didn't do that kind of stuff. So do you kind of, with your content now, do you kind of engineer that now to some degree?
I manipulate. I mean, I've had a very privileged past being around people who are the masters of manipulating media. When I give you an example, it doesn't matter, because it's a win-win with the media anyway. They know. Most of the stuff you read in the media is set up stories. Celebrities are set it up, staged up by their PR companies and so on. We had this storm in the UK, Storm Aisha, I think it was called, something like that. And one of the many storms we have, that you don't have here in Dubai. And it was a Monday morning. And I thought to myself, what can I do to ride off the back of this storm to make news? And I live in the country, so trees coming down and so on. It was quite dangerous, schools were shut and things like that. So I thought I'd use my profile to do a bit of a warning. And I know to go viral, I need to be hated on. So for Christmas, I bought my wife a new Ferrari F8. It's just relative to what I do. I work hard. She works hard. She puts up with my 24/7 working and my crazy ambition. And I thought, what the hell? And that story went out on my Instagram. The media follow my Instagram, and they made a big deal out of it, because there's not many people that buy their wife's Ferraris for Christmas Day. And that went wild. It's a yellow Ferrari F8, and I knew it'd work, that story. And then that went on for some time. But Fox News, CNN, America, went all over the world. So on this storm day, I thought, what would people really want? They would want, because when you look at the comment section, and you shouldn't do this because it will drive you insane, but when you do look at it, they're like, oh, I can't wait to see when Matt Fiddes gets stuck in a tree, and we hear he's dead, or when his wife gets crushed with that car or something like that, so that's what they're looking for. So I got electric gates in my house, and on that particular Monday morning, I had electricians up there changing all the light bulbs in the house. And I said to the guys, guys, I know it's windy outside, but what would it take for you to disengage those electric gates? He said, it would be difficult. And they went down with a spanner thing and they released them. I said, cool. So you got your electric logo in the background, back up. And I told my wife to get in the Ferrari F8 and go inside the gates. We pulled the gates up against the Ferrari. And I told my wife to put her hands like that in her head, and I did the same for the photo, and I had the electricians looking like they're forcing the gates. Then I got the nanny, to take a picture of us at the gates. Got the picture I wanted, which is the Ferrari yellow brand new F8 Christmas present stuck in electric gates. Wife looks upset, so on. And then I go back into my living room. I designed the Instagram post. Be careful out there, storm Aisha's bad, trees are coming down. My gates failed this morning, crushed my Ferrari F8, probably £50,000 worth of damage. But my wife's okay. That's all that matters. Stay safe. Hit the button, bang, with the picture. And then 2 hours later, it was huge. By the following day, I was on stage conference in London, and I got whispered in my ear that my story that I created was the third biggest story in the international news, bigger than the Israel war and everything, because people love to hate on the Ferrari, the beautiful wife, the multi-millionaire at 44. They remember the Christmas Day and they're thinking, screw you, but they fell right into my trap. And like you said, all the negative comments were going. And that story went all around the world, Australia, America, everywhere. And we just played on it. And all I did is hit the Ferrari in the garage for a couple of weeks.
And when you get a story like that goes viral, that you've kind of created in whatever way, how are you monetizing the attention on the back of that? And how do you measure the monetization on the back of that?
Good question. So that story basically paid for the Ferrari. So those people hating on me, unbeknown to them, they're actually they're paying for the Ferrari for me. So that Ferrari cost me, what, 340,000 or something. I had literally hundreds of thousands of hits, people searching my name in Google. The first thing they're going to find is my social media account, my businesses, my property businesses, my franchise businesses, and they're driving clients. So it don't take a lot for you to make 300K back over a course of 2 or 3 weeks publicity, especially when you're like number 3 on the Mail Online top story. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? It's not even a story, is it? But that's the way it works. And it just gets duplicated. So the monetization comes from the traffic that is sent from people just Googling your name, put your name in Instagram, and they find all your products and services. So you got to have a balance too. Now, the media aren't stupid. They know that's staged because they're like, where's the damage to the car? They don't even ask you for the damage. They know, but it's a win-win relationship. And that's just one of many examples I've done, like set up affairs with famous models or training them where I've only met them for 5 minutes before, and then I train them I do a photo shoot for 20 minutes and it looks like I'm training them, and that goes viral around the world. And sometimes we do risky ones, and where we're on the beach with a Love Island model and everyone thinks, oh, what's Matt doing with this? You know, Jacko's bodyguard with this Love Island star. Why is he in the sea with her half naked? They don't realise my wife sat on the beach watching the photo shoot go on, and the pictures go out. Same thing happens to traffic, and that will attract people who will be associated and linked to perfect clientele for women who want to get in shape, mums and dads who want to get in shape, and they all search up my martial arts schools thinking, I want to train with that guy who's looking after the latest Love Island star. So it's just come up with things and making it relevant. If I wanted to, I could sit down this afternoon and make news, front page news tomorrow. It's not that difficult. You just got to know how to make it tick. Did
Micheal teach you this?
Yeah. Micheal Jackson, Uri Geller taught me how to do this. First thing we used to do with Micheal Jackson, whenever we get to a new city, he used to sit down in his hotel suite with a table like this and just say, okay, how can we make the front pages? And we would brainstorm all these ideas and be creative. And he was an absolute genius at media manipulation, almost to a fault. Obviously, it backfired on him in the end. But yeah, I learned all that. I saw that going on for years, not just with him, but with Britney Spears and with Muhammad Al-Fayed and Uri Geller. They're just geniuses at staying relevant. And that's something that you can't overplay it. I mean, I'm different. I'm a dad of 6, right? So I don't want to be with a Love Island star in the sea anymore when my 20-year-old's like, oh, Dad, what you doing? They understand that he's doing his job. But yeah, the media know it's all staged and everything.
But it's like they're complicit because they know it sells a story and it sells a narrative.
You got Micheal Jackson's name, which is international, and then you got that link to Kim Kardashian, who I advised for when she was robbed in Paris, and everything else. All the most powerful names are linked, so it's a win-win for them. So they always put their head in Micheal Jackson. I hate that, Frankie. That's been, since Micheal died, that's been like something I had to have therapy for at one stage, because before Micheal died, I was Matt Fiddes, the multi-millionaire, martial arts mogul, property tycoon, businessman. When he died, I just got labeled Micheal Jackson's bodyguard. That was like 10 years of my life. Actually, bodyguard is probably about 4 or 5 years of my life. And then I was his friend after that, so I started having children. He didn't want me to try to take the bullet. But yeah, it's knowing how to pick it up and use it. And they say mainstream media is dying, which it is. But when property's crashing and dying, what do people do? You get encouraged to go and buy it. So mainstream media is dying. Go and make use of it. Get yourself on TV. Just get in the tabloids. It all helps. And it's not so much mainstream media. Where they're missing the point is that, I get in the Daily Mail. I get in the Sun newspaper or New York Times. They have an associated link website presence to that. They have Twitter, Instagram accounts, TikTok accounts. So if I get in the Daily Mail, I'm in the Mail Online, which is the biggest news outlet in the world other than Joe Rogan's podcast. And then on the back of that, all the other publications copy it. And you end up in multiple social media sites. It's not just mainstream media, it's social media domination. Yeah. So I was flipping everywhere. My franchises were loving it. And some of them have been with me like 25 years now. One of my franchises, Steve James, he was sat with his wife thinking, I don't know whether to text Matt or not to see if Monique's okay, or is this one of his publicity stunts or not, with the electric gate in the car. And his wife said, no, that's got to be true because of the storm. So he was just about to text my wife, and then I called him, and he's like, Matt, how's Monique? Said, that's fine. I said, Steve, you know me by now. How many years you know me? He goes, I knew it. I knew it was a publicity stunt. That was amazing. You're keeping our brand in the media like this above everyone else, and no one can compete with you when you've got that kind of brand power. Everyone talks about personal brand. Forget about that. You need to be a brand. have that power to dominate the news.
Break down for me because obviously I'm with this podcast and building a personal brand. I mean, that's not the key reason for doing it, but I am building a personal brand off the back of it, and I am building a corporate brand on the other side with content removal and everything I'm trying to do there. But break down the mechanics of how you're looking at personal and business branding and the differences between it and how you're approaching it.
Yeah, but personal brand to me is a buzzword that came out in about 2020, 2019. Up until that point, it was always classified as image. What is your image? What is your profile? And then someone's coined this clever term, personal brand. And I think it's to do with podcasting and to do with masterminds and this burst of online coaches that we've seen. But the big difference is personal brand is somebody who's trying to make it and get known, but doesn't have the skills or knowledge to just get there and just be done. So the difference between a personal brand and brand, if you go, let's pick my martial arts business, which is the biggest martial arts training in the world. So you've got Matt Fiddes martial arts schools, 1,800 locations all around the world. And if you type my name in, you put Matt Fiddes in Google, you're going to see 27 years of media articles, good, bad, and ugly, because sometimes it goes wrong. Sometimes I want it to go wrong, otherwise people won't believe it. You've got to play the game with the media. They see all these reports, all these YouTube videos, everything going back. And then if a parent's considering joining their kids, they're going to put Matt Fiddes in, they get all this. And if they go to the local competitor, the local karate school, and they type in their name, say Joe Blogs Karate, all they're going to get is an Instagram, a website, TikTok maybe, Facebook. That's it. Who are you going to pick, Frankie?
Yeah.
Always going to go with the person with social proof. That's the difference between brand. So a brand has got massive social proof. Personal brand hasn't got there yet. So what I teach people is take the shortcut to go from personal brand to brand. That seems to have got lost, and you need mainstream media to be able to dominate that.
So because I've got articles on platforms like, Yahoo, the BBC and other stuff like that in relation to what I've done, would that be classed as a personal brand, or would that be starting to go into the brand area?
That would be starting to go into the brand area, as long as it's not pay for play. If it's pay for play, then it's different. If you've got proper stories.
I'm on about organic features.
Okay.
Whether it be from my time as a boxing trainer or be from content removal. I'm talking about organic features, not pay to play platforms.
Yeah, that'll be building your brand.
Right.
And you need to be doing more of that, because that is the shortcut.
Yeah.
The more times you get on the BBC, ITV, CNN, Fox News, Sky News, you're going to get the social media off the back of that anyway.
Right.
So doing it, just working on your Instagram and your Facebook and Facebook Lives, that is a slow way. You need to go for the gun.
This is really interesting me, and I'm glad.
No one else teaches this stuff.
I'm glad that we got onto this thread, because this has gone down a completely different road to what I thought it was. But I'm glad we've got onto this thread, because I want to open up this completely. So I want to open the floor to you to break down how every one of us that listens to this podcast can build this brand that you're talking about, and how exactly to think about from an overarching strategy to leverage media.
Okay. I've never failed at this task, but let's try it with you, Frankie, all right? Because we don't know each other very well. We've got mutual friends. So everyone's got a story inside them, but they don't realize what it is. So what inspired you to become an entrepreneur? What was the pain point that you had? You didn't just wake up one day.
The pain point was I was stuck in the middle class, earning 25 grand a year as a carpenter.
Okay, and what were you aspiring to do? What was driving you to
I was aspiring to be financially free, to provide for my family, to have a better life, to be able to travel the world, to be able to impact more people.
Okay, what's the most painful things, if it's too personal, don't share, that you've had in your life happen to you? Have you gone for any tragic losses? Or
yeah, I'd say like two of the most painful points in my life was one when I worked at world title level in boxing, and I realized when I stood there next to Michael Buffer and he was doing that "Let's Get Ready to Rumble" stuff, I realized that I had been leaning my ladder against the wrong wall for a long time. That was one of the most painful points in my life. And as a child, I didn't feel loved by my mum at the time, okay. and I hadn't figured that out, and I hadn't healed from that. Right. So they were the two most painful things in my life.
So let's play on the mum thing, because whatever you have to come up with needs to be of human interest. So people watching TV or media think, I can link to that person. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the mum situation.
Well, growing up, I had an older sister. She was ahead of me, more academic than me. I wasn't academic. I was cheeky, this, that, and the other. I just felt that at the time, obviously I've worked on this now and I've got over this massively, but at the time I felt obviously she was more loved and she was the favorite child, and this is why I pursued the boxing and the being out there and being loud and obnoxious and, you know, all the trouble and this and the other, because in my head I thought, well, fuck me, how'd you get attention otherwise? You know what I'm saying? So I kind of think that narrative. Yeah.
Where's your dad fit in? Is he around?
My dad's been around. My mum and dad have been married 44 years.
Wow, awesome.
So yeah.
So whenever you develop a story, you look for the pain point. So with you, I'd go right back to the childhood because people can relate to that, not feeling the love from their parents or a parent and seeking. So you were seeking significance from other ways via boxing.
Yeah.
And recognition. So maybe you didn't get the recognition from your mum that you wanted. You weren't feeling loved like you did. It kind of messed you up. And then boxing was your release there to try and make a name for yourself and motivate you. And you didn't want to end up like your parents were. You wanted to have a better life and provide better life for your family and stuff going forward. And that was your motivation to start doing what you're doing with your podcasting, your property, your businesses and so forth. Now, if you take that and if you presented that to a TV show and to a researcher and said, listen, you map it out for them. You know, had a rough childhood, didn't feel loved by my mum. That motivated me to succeed a better life. I didn't want to be Mr. Average. I wanted to show my mum I really could make it out there and earn more and not be stuck in this financial trap, afford what I want, change people's lives and inspire others. Millions of people watching that are thinking, I can relate to that. I'm not loved by my dad, not loved by my grandparents, not loved by my mum, got bullied at school. I don't want to be just living paycheck to paycheck, just about affording these mortgage rates when the highest have been in 15 years. And that's a human interest story. So that will get you on TV, radio, tabloids. I know tabloid journalists who would eat up that story. We probably have to make it a bit more juicier along the way. I'm sure
there's a lot more in it than all of that, but I'm just trying to give an overarching concept. Yeah.
And then off you go. So with me, the story's always been bully boy becomes millionaire by the time he's 18. That works. That ticks all the boxes. It's fascinating. But that's without all the Micheal Jackson stuff, because I was a millionaire before I even met that guy. I didn't take any money off him whatsoever. Everything I did for him was free. But any story you find out there, when I have an audience of people on stages, I say to who's struggling to find a story to present to the media, and they put their hands up and find it within a few minutes. Because the reason they're in that room is because the story that got them in that room in the first place. They're not just turned up at an event in London or Peterborough or Birmingham or wherever and just there. The reason they're there, there's a pain point in their life that's driven them to get there. There's people who listen to this podcast, not because they're bored at home, it's because they want to learn, they want to change. There's a pain point. You've got to take that pain point, that's human interest, and turn that into a story. The more you keep repeating that over and over and over again, you get more well-known, you build a brand.
So let's break down someone who's obviously done that. Let's break down Andrew Tate from your perspective, because I think this would be really interesting to hear how you perceive how he's built this narrative, built this story, and also built his success on the back of that narrative, because you know this game better than anyone else. You've worked with all these major celebrities and you've seen someone go from personal brand to household name. So can you break that down?
Yeah, so Tate's gone from relatively unknown in 2019. I'd say he was probably unknown on a global level anyway. Maybe in the kickboxing sector he would have known. But even then, I'm part of that. He wasn't. It's not like just one. You know how it works. With boxing, you've got 2 or 3 organisations. With kickboxing,
so many world champions.
It's like 50,000 world champions in each martial art, right? So when I was growing up, it used to be 1 or 2, but it's all changed. So he wouldn't be known in that sector too. So what he's basically done, he's created and worked out a way using short form content, and he's an absolute genius at it, to stir people up. He understands negativity. He doesn't care less. Be controversial, and the more negative and controversial you are, the more viral the story will go. So he learned how to crack that. At the time when we're all, I won't say it in case we get a strike on your YouTube or something, where we're all told to stay at home for that particular reason. Everyone's glued to their phones. This guy was like cracking out these videos, saying outrageous stuff, being controversial, and off you go. No different to what my mates would do, right? So if you go back to my time with Micheal Jackson, you don't just turn up one day and wear one white glove and then have trousers that are too short for him with his glitzy white socks, and wears loafers every day with that white T-shirt all the time, the face mask on, the makeup all over him, the fedora hat, the sticky tape on his fingers, you know, the allergy tape on his nose to make people think his nose has fallen off. He's doing that because it ticks all the boxes. You're controversial. you're mysterious. People are going to hate on you. You can be negative and you go viral. And that's the way it works. So Tate has worked that out unbelievably. Despite what you think of him as a person, I don't know nothing about him, whatsoever in terms of his personal life. I've never met the guy. I've got friends who know him, and they speak very highly of him, actually, and how nice he is to everyone. But he is genius at short-form content. I don't think there's anyone else in the world who's mastered how to say that, and he's got a thick skin. Because to be able to do all this stuff, you have to have rhinoceros skin. You've got to be able to put up with the hate, the trolls, and I don't think he cares less. He knows how it works. Some of the stuff he says, you cringe, but he knows. It goes wild, and that's why he's world famous.
And I think probably as well, like some of the things that he probably says, like you, are fully engineered. They're not things that he actually believes in. He picks a pain point for someone, somewhere where someone can get in the comments and argue with each other on this point, whether it's true, whether it's not, and he'll pick that and he'll record that.
And the thing with Andrew Tate, if he gets off these charges and is found not guilty, I've always said he will be the biggest star on earth, because you've got a guy there who's been tried to be struck down. He calls it the Matrix attack, doesn't he? Mainstream media attack. If that turns out not to be true, he will not only be social media famous, he'll be mainstream media famous. He'll be a household name. The biggest, most in-demand star in the world. That's my prediction. Him and Tristan will be. If he goes to jail, then obviously then fair play. If he's committed the crimes, he's committed the crimes. But whenever you start playing at that level of fame, it becomes dangerous. So in his favor, what I will say, which I've witnessed multiple times, not just with Micheal Jackson, but other people too, when they get to a level of fame, you heard the story, they like to build you up and then bring you down. So you can take a certain amount of that. But quite recently now, it's got a bit ridiculous, where they build you up and they bring you down to such a level where it's trial by media. And it shouldn't be. If you're going to get charged, it should be in secret until the outcome at court, and then the media should be allowed, not the other way around. And you've seen what's happened to Russell Brand recently, and Philip Schofield, and you can go on and on and on when it comes to it. And I think Micheal was the first one, because back then he was like the first Me Too victim. Easy target, nice guy, vulnerable. People thought he's weird as hell because he created that image to keep controversial, just like Tate does. And it backfired on him. Someone makes allegations out of him, goes for money, and comes to nothing.
What's your thoughts from being inside that situation? Do you think that anything was going on untoward with the children and all that kind of stuff, or do you think that was completely blown out of proportion?
Yeah, it's just complete and utter nonsense. I mean, I think what people got to remember, Frankie, I've got one of the biggest children's organisations in the world. I would not be associated to Micheal Jackson if I thought he was anyway that inclined. And plus, I knew what was going on. He would love women. The issue we had with him is that he was brainwashed by his record label since he was 5 years old, Motown Records, that if you're seen with a girl or if you get married, you're going to lose half your fan base. Yeah. That was the old school thinking. And Micheal lived, and if you speak to Michael's brothers, he'll tell you he lived and breathed being Micheal Jackson. He literally did. And they just wish he'd have a break from it sometimes. He loved being the superstar Micheal Jackson. He loved it. So when Tito Jackson got married, he was the first Jackson to get married, Micheal was devastated. He thought, with the end of the Jacksons and Jackson 5, no one's going to want to know anymore. And then Jermaine got married, and he was anti all that. But he was into women. I mean, the problem we had with him was women, sneaking women into his room, keeping it a secret. We'd walk down the corridors to go to public places. He'd always remind us to say, Matt, remember, my life needs to be the biggest mystery on earth. If people aren't finding me interesting, then no one's going to be interested. They need to stay relevant. So you keep the act, high-pitched voice, sometimes we have to nudge him, don't forget your voice. Oh, yeah, damn. If you go watch the rehearsal footage that was released, this is it, before he died, he's using his normal voice, his deep voice. It's all an act. He studied people like Howard Hughes, and that's where he got the face mask idea from. Because people were thinking, why is he wearing a face mask for? What's all that about? And it gave him a little bit of level of privacy, and it also created the story. But no, he was into women.
So was the plastic surgery as well to stay relevant then?
The plastic surgery thing, he had he was doing like his twirly thing he does, spins, and he fell over and he broke his nose. And all his childhood, he's talked about this too, he was bullied, he claims, by his family for having been called Big Nose. He took the opportunity just to get his nose fixed and have work done on it at the same time. In my era, when I knew him, from like 99 through to 2009, there was no surgery going on. It all stopped by that point. He'd have the usual stuff, which you can talk about nowadays, like Botox and filler and things like that. He had a dermatologist he would go and visit, but back then it wasn't acceptable, you know. And the surgery part of it, I never talked to him about it. I remember I was in my early 20s, mid 20s when Mike was alive, so it wasn't a conversation I could take up with him. And I've seen people who tried to do that and they're out, you know, they're gone. And he was my mate, and I didn't want him to be like that. If I saw that he was doing something that was not quite, you know, if I saw him going for surgery, I would have said something. I would have said enough's enough or whatever. But he would make himself look ridiculous on purpose.
How did you two first meet and you come to working together?
So I opened up, I had 5 martial arts schools in North Devon on the coast of England. And the nearest town was 40 miles. I thought I was done. That was it. I was making £1.5 million a year, 18 years old. There's no overheads, literally just like £220 a month in rent. And the story was huge. So a reporter came in. He had a girl and a boy who was taking part in my classes, a guy called Nick Constable. He worked for a news agency called Southwest News Services. And he came up to me and said, listen, my kid's training with you. It's fantastic what you're doing. You've got a nice Ferrari 355 Spider outside. You're clearly doing well for yourself. And he got a calculator out. I said, you're making a lot of money, Matt. And I was quite open about it, Frankie, because people try and hide their success. You're like trying to sell yourself here that you're going to change children's life. We're going to teach stuff that the school system don't teach. Don't try and hide it. So I parked my Ferrari outside. Parents say to me, oh, you're making a lot of money. I was like, yeah, I am. And that's why you bring your kids to me, because I'm going to teach you everything the school system don't teach, how they failed me. Isn't that great? So your child can have a Ferrari one day. And they're like, oh, that's fantastic. So where they park around the corner, they're embarrassed by it. I never thought that way. I just thought, let's be open and honest. So I said to the guy, yeah, I'm making $1.5 million a year profit. And he said, do you mind if I do a story on you? And I thought it was at the local newspaper. So he took a picture of me doing a martial arts pose. And he asked a picture of me when I was 6, 7 years old, school picture of me where I looked very vulnerable when I was being bullied. And took a picture of me in my car. Interviewed me about bully boy, no qualifications, no GCSEs. Parents disowned me, grandparents disowned me, the whole family of university background and qualification, get a trade, living in this bed sit, £30 a week. I got evicted from 3 bed sits until I got to a rented home. And then I studied the greats in America and brought the concept back. That's why I was working for £2.75 an hour as a lifeguard at North Devon Leisure Centre. Saved my money, went out there, studied the greats. And back then, it was like 3-day conventions on martial arts business. And there's no pitching or sales. You just come back with all these notes. And the owner was so impressed by me. He's in his 80s, a guy called Nicholas Kokinis. He said, you know, in fact, you use your last money to fly here. And I want you to be my best case study. I want you to see if you can make it work in England, because no one's ever done it before. So he told me to go and follow the best people around in the States, get up at 4 a.m, watching their classes, watching their staff meeting, watching their marketing, their sales system, how they retained their members, their clients. And those people now come to me for advice. They're in their 60s now. They fly into the UK, the same people I used to go and visit. And I came back to the UK, implemented it, opened up 5 schools, one of the first guys to put people onto direct debits for martial arts. It was called standing orders back then. And it took off. It was unbelievable. And Nick Constable's story, he went out, I remember it to this day, he's in my reception. And I said, you think that'll make local paper? And he said, yeah, I think it will. Nothing happened for 2 or 3 days. And then every single mainstream newspaper put on their front page, Buddy Boy becomes millionaire. It was on Daily Mail, The Sun, The Star. It was everywhere, international. And this was back in like 97, 98. So this is when you're talking these editions were getting 20 million copies per day were being bought. It was massive. Yeah, my phones were ringing off the hook. I didn't even have to be told it was in the paper. Yeah, paparazzi outside. It was mental. Everywhere you went, people were staring at you. The guy. It's changed now. There's still a use for it. And then on the back of that, TV shows, they flick through the newspapers looking for stories. So I did all the morning TV shows. Trisha, Esther Ramson, Richard and Judy, Good Morning Britain, GMTV it was called back then. And that came to the attention of Uri Geller, who's a world famous guy, my closest friend.
They call him the Spoonbender, don't they?
Yeah, they call him the Spoonbender. You got like Tony Robbins of the Firework, and you got Uri Geller, the Mind Power, and the Spoonbender. And he's famous all around the world, and he was watching me on TV, and he wanted to get together and do a VHS video series on, he would do positive mind thinking, and I would do self-defense moves for kids and distribute it free to all the schools in the UK. And that's how we became close friends. And his best friend was, unknown to me, was Micheal Jacksons. And so Uri Geller's a property tycoon. His house is like a replica of the White House next to George Clooney's and Sonnet-on-Thames. And he was always pushing me, they're not going to build any more land. You got to be buying more houses, Matt. Stop wasting all your money on Ferraris. I bought my first house when I legally could at 18 years old. And he was pushing me. And then he introduced me to Micheal Jackson. And then Michael was pushing me on the build a brand, build the biggest chain of martial arts schools in the world. Do it big or go home. Stop messing around. Look what I've done. Poor boy in Gary, Indiana, nothing. Dad couldn't even feed us. I had handouts. 1 of 9 kids. I'm famous all over the world. Stop whinging about you can't find someone to go and travel 40 miles when I've got albums all around the world and the biggest album in the world, Thriller. And he wrote down on a napkin in London exactly what I needed to do. And I stood up to him at the time. He shot me down. He said, why have you only got 5 locations? I said, well, the next town, Michael, is 40 miles away and I can't get anyone to travel. It's hard enough getting people to work for me because they're in their 30s or 40s and I'm 18 years old. And he says, of course you can. Why are you thinking so small? He said, it's called franchising. And I shot back at him. I said, well, no one's ever done that in the martial arts before. And he said, well, that's exactly why you got to do it. And he just wrote down, you've got to script things out, put everything in manuals, be aggressive marketer, manipulate mainstream media. You've got to own your niche, be the most famous person in your niche, or go international, think big. And from that conversation, things were never the same. Whenever Micheal Jackson used to call my home, it'd always be, how many schools you done, Matt? How many franchises you sold? How many students you got now? And yeah, it was difficult. Whenever we used to get together, it's challenging and keep me accountable.
So break down what exactly he wrote on that napkin.
Yeah, I wish I kept it.
Because that would have been a powerful little insight.
Yeah, he started at the top. So the 3 areas of business, basically, you've got marketing, which is number 1. You have to be a genius marketer, and he was incredible at that. Being the most aggressive, wherever attention goes, money flows. You need to get as much eyeballs on you as you possibly can. So marketing was the first thing. The second thing was sales. You need to be able to sell your product or service or make it so damn good that people just buy it from you anyway because it's just so outstanding. And that's the route I wanted to take. I don't believe in all this high-ticket sales nonsense and how would you feel if you didn't join now and 6 months from now. If it's so damn good, people just buy from you anyway. And that's the way I've always worked and it works out for me. And the third thing is service, having the most incredible service or product where people just never leave you and owning the industry. So he listed things he wanted me to have a manual for marketing, all the different ideas that I could have. It turned out to be about 70 of them in the end to get members through the door. And I did that by studying the great sector, not just in the martial arts sector, but in people like Jay Abraham, like marketing geniuses. And then the mainstream media part, I kind of learned that from him and Uri Geller, because I was watching that on a daily basis and how they manipulated the media and stay relevant. And then other people like Madonna who do it, and who geniuses are doing that. So I kind of picked up on that naturally without really knowing I was learning. I was part of this. We have this word mastermind now, don't we? Where back then it was our network, our inner circle. There was no such word as mastermind. And I was basically part of this most elite group in the world where we'd get together with our mates and it would include like Mohammed Al-Fayed, the owner of Harrods, Ritz Hotel. We'd normally be at his house for dinner. And then we'd have David Blaine there, movie star Daryl Hannah, Britney Spears, Uri Geller, Micheal Jackson, and then little old me. And when you're around that table with these billionaires and megastars, it's going to have I didn't know it would, but it's going to rub off on you.
So those people you just mentioned, can you break down the key skill that you saw that they could do that you were like dumbfounded by? So like, what was Britney's skill? I want to hear about her skill. I want to hear about Al-Fayed's skill. Because obviously Al-Fayed had Harrods. For those of you that don't know, listen to this podcast, he had Harrods, and obviously Britney Spears doesn't need explaining. But what were their key skills that they had?
So let's start with Al-Fayed. So Al-Fayed, I loved him to bits. He was very protective of me. He admired that I was so young, and I was at the table. I remember him once saying to me, it was a Saturday night, and you can see I was probably a little bit uncomfortable because like, what the hell am I doing? Like imposter syndrome type thing, And he said to me, it's good that you're here amongst us, Matt, on a Saturday night, because while all the other people are out there getting drunk and wasting their money, and he would joke, he'd say, using Viagra, stuff like that, you're here with us and we're coming up with ideas to make our next billion from those people. And I was thinking, great, I had a bit of reassurance from him, and he was always about property. He had property everywhere, just genius thinking. Britney Spears is a very clever marketer. She's very, very, her work ethic was unbelievable. The dancing, the photo shoots and so forth, what she could go through and not complain about it, the rehearsals, all the stuff you don't see behind the scenes. She did a duet with Micheal Jackson in 2001. no, 2000, I think we did it in Madison Square Gardens, and the attention to detail from her, because a lot of people don't know, she's been famous since she's like 5 herself with Disney and stuff. So she's been rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed. She knew exactly how to manipulate media herself too and get there. Uri Geller was my go-to person for anything positive thinking. Like if I say to Uri, I can't do this, there's no such word as can't. You do anything you want, as you dream it, believe it, achieve it. Whatever you visualize, you can become. And by the time you're 30, Matt, you're going to be a multimillionaire and one of the most famous martial artists in the world. That was his predictions. He had quotes from back then in 98, which when he was interviewed about me, they still stand right to this day. Most positive man and most health conscious man. Like when we go to Uri Geller's house, the first thing you'd want to do, rather than sit down in the living room, let's go out for a 3-hour hike. And it was a killer hike. And on that way, he'd return all his phone calls around the world. He'd talk to me. He'd have a member of his staff walking with us. And I'll be knackered when I come back from Geller's. But he always put his health first. Even now, he's 78? Incredible. You know, he looks amazing. He's got the Uri Geller Museum in Israel. And he drums into me about property. They won't build any more land. Got to get your hands on property. The goal is to get your name on as many deeds as you possibly can. And that was his thing. He loved the property. Obviously, he had production companies and TV shows all around the world. All the others, they all had the same mystique. And like David Blaine was interesting character because the way he could wind the media up was phenomenal. And he was just a normal guy behind the scenes. Micheal was just in every level. I mean, the investment side, maybe other than music publishing, he didn't really dabble with. But when it comes to brand building, you couldn't get a bigger brand than the Micheal Jackson brand. I've met a lot of famous people. I've never seen anything like the fiasco, the chaotic scenes whenever we just used to try and do simple things with Micheal, like catch a train or go to a shop. It was mental. And I've never seen that with Britney Spears or anyone else. Micheal was just another level. I've been at celebrity parties with Micheal, and big names have been there, massive names. And then once he's there for 10 minutes, we have to shut him off in a room and leave because all the big stars in Hollywood want to get a picture or an autograph from Micheal Jackson. He was the master at brand building, manipulation, and staying relevant, and to the point where it bit him in the end. It got him. He got too famous. He got too powerful. He owned half of Sony Music. You know, people don't realize that. He owned most people's music catalogs, like Eminem and the Beatles and the Happy Birthday song. He got very powerful. Yeah. And just like Tate says, you get too powerful people when you bring you down. I won't say it's the Matrix attack or people are conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means, but there's a certain element of truth when you've got one guy who's dominating the music industry. Every time he brings out an album, it goes to number one, hit by hit by hit, and sells out these tours. And all the other artists are like, what about us? You know, we don't even get a look in. Micheal comes out of nowhere and he's number one again. And people are always trying to bring him down. And it was fascinating to watch. So the brand building part of it was everything. If you were to interview Micheal Jackson today, he will say to him, what would you do differently? He will say, I'll practice more. I didn't practice enough. And I would do more deals and endorsements and building my brand and maybe not be as trusting as he was. That was his fault.
So he would have done more deals. So he would have done more Pepsi deals. He'd have done more deals, Super Bowl ads. He'd have done more of that.
That guy wouldn't do it. He was ruthless. There's two sides to Micheal Jackson. You got his mum, who's loving and caring, lovely lady. She's absolutely amazing. Then you got his dad, who's very well known to be a ruthless businessman, who took the Jacksons out of nothing, poverty, to where they are. And Micheal was a mixture of both. So I could be in a boardroom with him, and he'd put his glasses on, and he would dominate that room. And I'm like, whoa, where did this come from? Or I could see him on stage, and he becomes this flipping animal with a microphone, doing Billie Jean and moonwalking in front of my eyes. And then off stage, he's shy and he's quiet. He just wants his own space and watch TV and so forth. But business-wise, that guy was like absolutely driven, ruthless. In his bedroom, he had, it's still there today, I believe. In his mirror, he wrote, I want the biggest selling album of all time. I want to sell over 100 million records. This was back before Thriller. So he knew every day when he woke up, he could look at that and visualize that. Big fan of Tony Robbins, loved Tony Robbins. Me and him used to have lots of conversation about Tony. Tony was a big fan of him. You mentioned in the Personal Power program about Michael's Pepsi Cola deal and so forth. But no, he would have done more. Oh, I was going to get back to the story. So if we go to London or we go to New York, he won't pay for any hotels unless he's there in secret. If he's publicly there, then he knows the value his brand will bring a hotel. So before he goes there, he will get us or his people to contact a hotel saying, listen, Micheal Jackson's looking at staying at your hotel for the next 10 days. He wants the presidential suite. He'll do it free of charge, and he'll publicise the fact that he's there. He'll let sure the fans will know, the paparazzi will know. You'll get all the publicity, but we're not paying £10,000, £15,000 a night. And then the calls will always come back saying, yeah, deal done. Yeah, he won't pay for anything.
So he literally went through life, even though he had all the money, he didn't have to pay for anything.
No, I'd get phone calls, right? It's mad stuff. I was talking about it yesterday to a friend, and I get a phone call like, I've got Mercedes on the line. They got their new latest S-Class brand out. They want to know if they want to give it to Micheal Jackson as a gift, in the hope, that they'll see him driving in it and it'll reflect on their brand because he's the biggest brand in the world. And then I give the message to Micheal. Oh, yeah? Okay, tell him to send it to Neverland. And that happen all the time. Latest Ferrari. Not really into cars, Matt, but just tell him to send it to Neverland. And you've got this incredible collection of, because they're just hoping that they can get to see him. I mean, he obviously paid for stuff. He's known for his spending, but that was on a different level. But the brand power you had, this is why I'm going back to like people like Tate. If you're at Tate's position at the minute, where you go viral on every post and everywhere you look on YouTube is Andrew Tate, people are going to be dying to throw you cars for him to drive. Yeah. Seen with him, association, fame by association. I've been there and seen it.
So you don't reckon then that he's paying for all that stuff? It's a lot of it's given to him.
Well, I don't know, but from my experience, he wouldn't need to pay for that stuff. The Bugatti, the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, the multiple models. He wouldn't need to, because they would just be throwing them at him to hope that Andrew Tate will be pictured in it or videoed it for TikTok. I got Lamborghini Aventador and Ferraris and stuff, and when I go out, I don't see it happening. I come back home, I scroll through TikTok, and I get flipping on these car clubs and that, driving my Ferrari around, telling me, how did that even happen? People just do it. They find out where you are, they network, and they get there. So I would imagine he's got people hand over feet trying to throw deals at him right now, throw cars at him right now. I mean, I don't know his track record or where he's made his money. I've got no idea. And I run a membership site. I've got mf.club. We've got a mutual friend who's got a membership site too. We do very well. And I know how difficult it can be getting people to subscribe and trust in that, even if it's only £9.99 a month, let alone...
How many members have you got in that now?
Just over 5,000. And that's took me 18 months. So to get, I don't know what Tate claims he's got, 250,000 at £50 a month. I don't know. It's good. Possible? I don't know. Off TikTok videos? Don't know.
It's good cash flow if it's true.
If it's true, it's unbelievable. But I know how hard it is, and we're both friends with Rob Moore, and Rob's relentless on it, right? He's got just over 10,000 members on his on the subscription site. So it's but then again, we're not world famous. Andrew Tate is world famous, so maybe they Google him, they find his site, and off they go, and his masterminds and so forth. And I got the guy I was with yesterday. He's part of his War Room mastermind. He says tremendous value. He's met some great people with it, and he loves it, and whatever, you know.
I think there's a lot that he does that's good for the world, and a lot of people get a lot of value from it. I think I look at the marketing side of things and how I always look at angles. Okay, I don't look at the content itself. I look at what angle's been used to generate that, and how's that been leveraged, and how's that lever been pulled, and where's that been put to get that exposure. Yeah. So when you start to look at things like that, you can start to reverse engineer success for yourself and start to see, okay, what have I got to do then to translate that into what I'm doing? All right, I don't want to be as on the side of the kind of content as that, but what can I do in regards to podcast stuff? And we've manufactured our hooks different in our content on TikTok and done like 2.5-3 million views just because of, looking at content like that. Why is it going viral? What was it? What was the first 3 seconds of that caught the attention? It's like, it's all out there, but it's just that people are looking at it to consume it rather than looking at how was that piece of content built? What was it? What was the B-roll? Where was the hook? What was the line that... Can you move the back of the video to the front of the video, and then that's the hook? All these things that people aren't thinking about. That's why it was so interesting when you were explaining about press and about how you craft attention and why it's important that you capture attention. I'd never heard it articulated like that, but it made a lot of sense to me. But I'd never known that until you said it. Like, I've been spending all my time trying to go out there, create content, do podcasts, trying to publish content, trying to get more views, trying to get more subscribers, trying to do all this. And then you're telling me, no, Frankie, completely flip the script, mate. You should be looking at how you can engineer your story to be able to capture the news things. I completely overshadowed that. So it's very powerful what you said. Quick one for you guys. This podcast is sponsored by contentremover.com. As many of you are probably aware, I set up contentremoval.com in 2017 to help people remove all forms of online content, and I've looked after some of the biggest names and brands in the world doing it, and I would love to help you if you're struggling. If you're struggling to remove images, videos, search results, fake accounts, or anything online, go to contentremoval.com and we'll help you today.
You went back over all your podcast episodes, Frankie, and you gave it to someone to say, okay, find some of the juicy things I say that would make mainstream media, and then you present it to them. You'll be amazed. So when I do podcasts, you'll see, once it's released, I will give it to a team member. I'll make sure they watch it 2 or 3 times. They'll write down all the things I say that's going to tick the boxes for a mainstream media story. Then we'll get to the Daily Mail, we'll give it to the Sun, and off the back of that, we get multiple stories per podcast. The podcast is happy, I'm happy, and I'm building my brand, they're building their brand, they're getting mentioned to, and it works. So it's kind of like a misunderstood area. No one else is teaching this stuff. It's only me. But then again, I've had a weird life. So I suppose no one else understands how the way it ticks and works. And also, the other thing to bear in mind, right, is sex sells. And this is where Tate falls into, I don't want to be the Tate podcast, but the guy's in good shape. No doubt, but no one can deny him of that. He's in incredible shape. He looks after himself. He presents himself well. He talks well. He's a charmer. His brother's even charmer more than what he is. And he understands the concept that sex sells. He's in great shape. He does podcasts with his top off. Who the hell does that? I mean, it's great. He's got the idea. He knows how it works. And he does say that most of his fans are women, and I do believe him. That would be the case. Now, if you go into a shopping mall or you go to a magazine stand, right, you look at the celebrity magazines, you look at the front cover, who are all the stories going to be dominated by? Is it going to be male or female?
Probably female, wouldn't it?
Female, exactly. Nobody wants a male person on the front cover of a magazine. So if you look at all the celebrity magazines, OK magazines, Now magazine, all these stuff, it's all female stars. So whenever I do my publicity stuff, I ain't going to waste my time working around with a famous male because nothing's going to come of it. Same thing I'm going to get back to, sex sells. Sex sells. And the same with social media too. If you want to go viral, actually there's a girl in Dubai who I talked to. She's very clever at it. She's toned it down a bit now. I think she's in a relationship. She's called Lauren Tickner. You probably heard of her.
Yeah, I know Lauren. Yeah, I know well, yeah.
Yeah, well, she's clever. And I've had messages with her before saying that, this shot's good. And she puts skimpy lots swimwear. She's in incredible shape. And she'll just flick her hair and walk into the pool. And then she'll promote her marketing services and so on.
Yeah.
Gets people's attention in the first 3 seconds, like you said, and it works. Now, if you can translate that and do that same stuff with mainstream media, and then on the back of that, you're going to hit social media as well, then you're hitting both angles at the same time. So how I do that is I get a girl who's beautiful, has come off the biggest show in England's Love Island. So I'm using that as an example. Or Big Brother I've done many times before. I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. And they come off that. They're hot. They look the part. If I'm seen with them, then I know she's a woman. She'll end up on the front covers. Sex sells. So they want her in a skimpy outfit, whatever it may be. And then I will be attached to that story. She benefits because of the international presence, because of my background with Micheal Jacksons and all the stars I've worked with, and all my franchise and students who are going to click on that story and make it go viral anyway. And then I benefit from her because she's just come off TV and she's the most wanted person in the media right now. Also, she can't handle the fame because she's gone into Love Island as a nobody with 100,000 followers and come out with 4 million followers. Everyone's hating her, trolling her, she's suicidal and so forth. I've been there. I've seen people at the biggest level being attacked. And the agents call me in to say, help this woman. And we come to an agreement, do the media stunts, and then I help her reframe her mindset that this is normal. And everyone knows you now. You can't trust anyone. And because I've seen it at the highest level with Micheal. And it's a win-win. So I wouldn't mess around with doing publicity stunts with guys and stuff. You just go with what's on the front page of the magazine. So any celebrity magazine feature you'll see, it'll all be women in bikinis, pretty women, the same old people too a lot of the time.
Yeah,
Katie Price, Kerry Katona, Michelle Heaton, and so forth, and it works. So me and Katie, we did a photo shoot together, and that went on. I mean, she's probably one of the most famous women in the UK, and it went absolutely wild. We literally took 3 minutes to do the pictures, made them very controversial, got people talking about, what's Matt doing here? Is he having an affair? Is he with her or not? What's going on? And that went absolutely wild. So much so that I filled my fuel tank to my car and I went into a petrol station. There was a magazine on it and it said, Katie Price's engagement split up due to affair with trainer. It was me. I was like, what the heck? That's not true. And then the media would say Matt Fiddes sneaks off her steamy, sexy workouts with Katie Price and wants to move him in and so forth. And then, you just keep it going. You run with it. And I'm making thousands of pounds out of this, and she's doing extremely well out of it as well. So then you just throw everything into the mix. Like one of the Love Island girls, she made a mistake where I helped her. She split up with a very famous boyfriend, and she was a paparazzi outside her house. I know how to navigate all that. So I said, listen, I'll move you my security team. I'll send all my people up there to move you and look after you. And in return, we'll work something out later with the publicity side. So I said, I couldn't go. She wanted me there. But if I went there, it'd be like, this certain girl is leaving this famous person for Matt Fiddes. And I got a baby on the way, and my wife was, it wasn't going to happen. She understood that. So I sent my team, had my logos everywhere. They escorted her out. Paparazzi got her. My brand was absolutely everywhere. Removal company we didn't pay for because they had their logo there. They moved her, got her safe to her new place, living a single life. Anyway, she sent me flowers. She's single, so she wasn't thinking about the date. She sent me flowers, and I was at my house, and the gates go, and it's the delivery. I just thought it was my wife, and then an Amazon delivery or something. And it was this huge, gigantic, like, box. And I said, thank you, I signed for it. And it said, to the hunk, and it gave my address, because she used to call me a hunk, just jokingly. The media would refer to me as this girl and the hunk. It became like a running joke. And I'd open up the box, and I realised it's red roses and 2 bottles of wine and so on. Anyway, it's Valentine's Day. My wife's coming down the stairs behind me. I said, who's at the door? I said, I just got this from so-and-so. And it's Valentine's. She didn't realise, she didn't think. Anyway, long story short, my wife's fine with it. She understood that. This certain person didn't think of that was, or did she think it was Valentine's Day? Probably did. I realised it was stir. Next thing that happened is I spoke to her. I said, you do realise what the day is? Oh, Matt, I'm really, really sorry. So there's no issue whatsoever. So I thought, this would be a good story, wouldn't it? Katie Price, background. Is he, isn't he? And then so-and-so sent, actually, I can say her name because it's out there. Megan Barton Hansen sent him flowers on Valentine's Day. So you had, the media went with it. You had Katie Price, me in the middle with my wife, and then Megan Barton Hansen, 2 of the most beautiful women in the UK. My wife's gorgeous as well. Sex house, massive viral story. So much so, my wife was getting hugs at the school gate saying, I was like, okay, I see what's going on with Matt and Katie and Megan. I'm there, Megan saying, is Matt seeing Megan? I said, it was just because I moved her house. She sent me flowers and wine as a thank you. So there's little moments where you can just twist. That's like millions of pounds of publicity you cannot buy. 2 of the most famous women in like a love triangle thing. Well, nothing was even going on. It was just off the back of a photo shoot and helping someone move a house. So these opportunities, as an entrepreneur, you can let them go or you can capitalise them, and we made a fortune out of it.
It's mental. How do you approach it with your wife, your girlfriend, with your partner? How can you approach it so that they would understand why you're doing that? Because I can imagine, I think your wife's pretty chilled letting all this go on, but I can't imagine it's like that for everything. Like, I couldn't imagine maybe even Rob Moore doing that, you know what I mean, and being able to do that. Like, so how are you engineering that?
So my wife comes from an entertainment background. She's a pop star, still is a #1 pop star in South Africa, so she gets it. And she's come into the marriage. I was married before, I had a rehearsal marriage, and she can handle
a rehearsal marriage.
I had a rehearsal marriage for 10 years, man. I got 3 beautiful daughters with her, Marcella and Savannah.
Yeah.
We have a great relationship, me and Marcia do. But to be fair to her, she didn't sign up for this. She wanted someone to watch TV in the evenings, watch Netflix, holiday a couple of times a year, drink. Helicopters flying over the house with the biggest stars in the world ringing up, and how much more money do you want, Matt? You know, we had all the Ferraris and the mansion. She didn't want that. So she couldn't handle this kind of media scrutiny. Whereas Monique gets it. She just gets it. She don't know any different. She's shopping at Dubai Mall. She understands, I got to work. And this is what gives her incredible lifestyle. And it's all about building generational wealth. I've got 6 children. I'm hoping I'll have lots of grandchildren one day and great-grandchildren. And I think it's our duty as parents to take care of them. So she understands it. But remember, Frankie, she's involved every step of the way. She knows these girls. She knows them. She's FaceTimes, or she's there with me. She's part of it. She's just behind. It's not just me who does this. I won't mention names, but everyone's doing it. When you go through these stories in the newspaper magazines, it's all constructed. It's quite funny, actually, because when a story goes wrong and they write something bad about me, You go for it. Like, I dare them write that, you know? And then when you go further, like, I've got celebrity friends and I'm thinking, hey, look what he's doing. And I've realised, it's publicity.
I imagine the one friend that you've got that's probably really good at this is Nigel Farage.
Yeah, Nigel's just a walking media magnet at the moment. Yeah. Unbelievable.
He's a genius at media.
Yeah. He knows
he can make himself trend like anything. He obviously back of doing social, I'm a celebrity and all that kind of stuff, and he's changed his narrative there. European Parliament stuff.
He's got his big announcement, which will be happening. I was at his birthday party last week, and I've moved him into this entrepreneur space. I introduced him to Rob Moore and Mark Homer. Mark was loved him and wanted to meet him, so I made that happen for Mark's birthday. And yeah, he's a close friend of mine. I've done his shows lots of times. He comes and speaks at my event. He's like Marmite, Nigel. He's very controversial, so he ticks all the media boxes, doesn't he? He's outspoken, doesn't care what he says, doesn't care what people think about him. But at the same token, Frankie, these keyboard warriors, right? When Nigel goes to a service station to get something to eat or use the bathroom, it takes him about 3 hours because people are mobbing him, wanting pictures, selfies, autographs. Yeah, it's interesting. Like with me, in my sector, people don't understand me or never met me or judge me. They're like, oh, you should have made all this money out of martial arts. It's wrong to do that. You know, you're a Mac Dojo. You watered it down. Yeah, when I go to martial arts conventions, I get mobbed. And the owner of the convention comes up to me and goes, oh, do you know that guy who's writing that rubbish about you? He's queuing up for your selfie right now, picture with you right now. And do you know that person who said all that way? He's there as well. And yeah, it's strange, eh?
How much would you say in total you've made out of martial arts since you started? Because not many people can monetize martial arts.
Yeah, I must have made at least $500 million out of martial arts. 27 years now.
It's mental, isn't it?
It's gone quick
when you break it down.
But do you know where my real wealth comes from? And the good thing about podcasts, when I talk about it, it stays in. Whereas in the mainstream media, I talk about property. It's like boring. They're not interested in that.
Oh, I love this.
They're fascinated with the kicks, the march, how have you monetized karate and made money and millions from it. But my real wealth has come from Uri Geller telling me, 18, buy houses. They'll never build any more land. Mind you, it's not true in Dubai, is it? They did build more land. Yeah. But keep buying houses. And that's just by natural appreciation. And I used to buy for cash flow. I read all the books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and studied all the people back then. There was no Rob Moores around back then. It was Simon Zucci. I had his audio CD sets and so forth. So I think Rob got into property about 29. He went to university, didn't he? I went straight in at 18. So, yeah, buying houses at that level, no money down and HMOs and really going for it.
So break down what you're looking to stack your portfolio with.
I've changed it now. So originally it started off as Fiddes Rooms, on brand, everything on brand. So you've got MF, Matt Fiddes Martial Arts, Matt Fiddes Dance, Matt Fiddes Pilates, Matt Fiddes Yoga. Same business model, just different subject. So the whole franchise model is the same. Then you've got Fiddes Rooms, which is luxury, high-end HMOs. That was my thing back in the early 2000s. And then you've got MF Mentoring, which I kind of manipulated the branding. It's not Matt Fiddes, it's Money Freedom Mentor. I teach people how to become financially free by building businesses and investing in property. So HMOs was my thing. So by the time I was 22, I had a passive income of about £5,000 to £6,000 a month coming in from HMOs. But I was right at the top end where no one else was doing it, where we had leather sofas, broadband, Sky TV then, it was a big thing, you know, no one else. Cleaners twice a week. I was competing against bedsits and really amateur people. Now everyone's doing it now. So I maneuvered. I've always stayed in the lane. I believe people get distracted and get overwhelmed a bit too much. You don't need all this information, a course of this, a course of that, a course. You just got to do one thing and do it over and over and over and over again. So if you look at my core business, my martial arts business, where others have tried to copy me, they get bored. They see the next shiny object come in, they jump on it and they get distracted. All I've done is look for a signpost, town, open, next town, open. Same thing over and over and over and over again for the last 27 years. And that's consistency. That's the key to success in anything, whether it's training, business, making money and so forth. With the property side of things, there are trends that come and go. I think if you're in service accommodation right now or Airbnb, you're in big trouble. And if you're...
Is that globally or just UK?
In the UK, yeah. And if you're in HMOs at the moment in the UK, you're in big trouble. And I'm talking from experience and not from someone who's not been in there and done it. So all of my HMOs, which maybe will have money, I'm now turning into family homes, due to the UK government regulation, is so ridiculous, just cannot make it profitable. And it's almost like one part of the government don't talk to the other part. Because I have the housing side who are begging me, who are calling up my office saying, can Mr. Fiddes buy more properties in Devon? Because we've got people living in travel lodges, Premier Inns, hotels with kids, and we can't home them. And then we'll lease them from him for 6 years and pay him above market value. Can he get on with it, please? And on the other hand, I've got a lady going around my HMOs with 6-bedroom, 8-bedroom HMO saying, you've got to change this, you've got to do this extractor fan, you've got to spend 30 grand here, you've got to do this, you've got to take away that. And measuring all the rooms. And I'm like, what's going on here? Because I'm not going to spend this money on, we never had this 20 odd years ago. And she's, we're trying to increase the safety. And I understand that and I appreciate that. But it's almost to the point where you're going to drive everyone out.
Yeah.
Because I could just turn that 6-bedroom HMO into a family home. With rents, have they gone up now? They've tripled, quadrupled in the UK. And make the same money. And I don't have to pay the electric bill, the gas bill, the council tax. That's the other thing they're bringing in too, council tax per room. Band-Aid per room. How's that going to work? And she's like, shrugging her shoulder. I said to her, you're telling me I've got to do this. I don't want to do HMOs no more. If it's going to be like this on every HMO house I've got. 86 bedrooms is what we've got. And then the other side of the council telling me, you've got people in travel lodges and are homeless. You're about to make all these people homeless. And she's, oh yeah, but we don't talk to them. They're a different department. Yeah, it's just a complete mess, isn't it?
So how are you going to long-term grow your wealth when what you were doing was making money out of martial arts? You were obviously driving traffic there through creating viral content through media. Then you're taking the cash off the back end and you were storing it in property. So how would, when your businesses are cash flowing like they are now with all these schools, they're all cash flowing, all the franchise fees, everything else that's going on, all this money's coming into you. What are you doing with it?
I just buy property.
Still.
I'm aggressively buying all the time. I think I've got 16 deals over the line this year already, and these are like apartment blocks and things like that.
So when you're
fussy what I buy now.
So you're buying a whole apartment block. So how many apartments in each block?
I don't go big. It's no more than 8 in a block, and then a shop underneath. And it's the fallout. Do you remember when Boris Johnson in the UK, he changed the law so where you can convert unused office space into apartments?
Yeah.
People did that in 2020. They've just completed our deals. They can't sell them. Interest rates have gone up, and they're left with these deals where they can't link with them. So I'm buying them up at the moment. And then going forward, all I'll be doing is, just like I said with the martial arts, keeping it simple, just go with 2-bed, 3-bed family homes. There'll always be a need for that. That's all you need. I know it's boring, but most things are. Weight training can be boring, but you've got to keep doing the same thing. You've got to keep adding more weight and just get your diet perfect. It's consistency. So just 2-3-bed homes. That's all I'm going to be doing over and over and over again.
And what do you envisage? Obviously the prices are probably dropping or stagnating at the moment. But what do you said before the podcast? I think you said your portfolio is at about 80 million at the moment. What's your vision for how big you want to build this portfolio for you?
So we had our property out of all the landlord. You're part of our network. I was one of the first people to refinance all of my properties. It was a mammoth task. And the surveyors came back and were able to take a proper glance with real facts. So within a year, my property portfolio dropped by 23%, to give you an idea.
Right.
So they are crashing in the UK. Absolutely. Yeah. It's starting to happen. People are ringing up. Whereas estate agents never used to return the calls, they're ringing up now saying, Matt, I've got this deal. This one's desperate. This one can't pay the mortgage anymore. They come off their fixed rate. Can you help? So that's happening. Whether the property prices go up or not, I don't care, Frankie, because whenever I buy in a deal, unless it cash flows at least £300 or £400 a month per property, I don't buy it in the first place.
Yeah.
So I buy for cash flow. I couldn't care less because I've got through the 2008 crash, haven't I? And I made a killing load of money because when everyone else was not buying, I was buying. When everyone else not marketing their martial arts schools, I was doing it.
So you never stop. There's two things you never stop. You never stop marketing. No. You never stop creating viral stories, and you never stop buying property. Like you buy in all markets, all weathers, everything.
Yeah. I would never stop buying. Just keep going.
Right. And your vision for the
if you're not growing, you're dying. You got to keep building it. You got to keep going and going.
And the vision for the portfolio size is what, 250, 500 million, something like that?
No, I want to be a billionaire by the time I will be a billionaire by the time I'm 50. I'm 45 next month. I'm on track for. I want to be a billionaire by the time I'm 50. That's my goal I'm working towards. That's not because of the money and the material things. Because once you get past 10 million, there's only so much you can do. We've already got the mansion. We've got the Lamborghini, the Ferraris.
But how have you reverse engineered this being worth $1 billion at that age? Like, what's got to happen in that next 5 years for you to close that gap?
Just got to keep doing what I do now. I've got a plan for it.
It's all
written down and planned out. So I've got to do so many franchises per month. Current franchise, I've got to maintain or grow some of them. I've got to add more properties to my portfolio. It's as basically simple as that. I just got to keep doing what I'm doing now, just slowly scaling it up.
Matt, break down for me then how you're putting this plan together, because I want to know not specifically your plan, because I understand your plan, but I want you to break down how we as a podcast can put our plan together, and I want your wisdom on that.
For a podcaster?
No, not for a podcaster. For everyone listening to this podcast right now, I want them to be able to leave this podcast
with a financial plan,
with a way. Okay, right. I've got to do this. I've got to do this in my journal. This is. I want your way of making that plan on this podcast.
Okay, so there's 3 plans that you have in life. The number 1 has to come first, and people don't appreciate this enough until it goes wrong. Your health needs to come first. Your health plan. That's the first one. Your gym workout, getting it done each day, eating correctly, sleeping correctly. That needs to be number 1. So the health plan is the first one. People never talk about that at events, but that needs to be there, because there's no point being rich if you're not healthy and you can't enjoy it. And to be rich, you're under a lot of stress. It's being able to handle stress is what becomes an entrepreneur. Being able to move towards the pain rather than away from pain, which is the way our body reacts. The second plan after that is your personal financial plan, which is what house do you want to live in? What cars do you want to drive? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want for your kids? Do you want private school for them? What kind of holidays do you want to take? Do you want a place in Dubai? Do you want a place in America? What's your lifestyle look like 10 years from now? And your last plan is the mechanism to get there, your business plan, which is going to be what needs to happen to make that money, to make the financial plan come in place and the health plan come in place. Because the health is also linked to wealth. They're very similar names, they're linked together. You can get better healthcare if you're rich. You can live a better lifestyle. You can afford better organic meat and foods or whatever it may be. Better doctors if you're wealthy. So they're the 3 plans you have to focus on. So I have those all created up. So for me, like the business plan will look like, I need to have so many franchises open up per month consistently for a number of years and dominate a few more countries and get some deals done for other countries to be able to achieve that side. Now that's my most highly taxed income as well. So I'll take that money and I'll put that into property. Now, I remember I do not care less whether the properties go up and down or not, although historically, every 10 to 15 years since records began with property in the UK, they've always doubled. That's the way it's always worked. So you can pretty much make that assumption. So I'm going to buy property. Now, I only invest in stuff I understand. I've been doing property now for 27 years. So I get it. I understand it. I've been through everything. I've had people hang themselves. I've had roofs go off. I had a phone call yesterday, apartment block got burgled into. A tenant decided to help himself back into his apartment when someone else was living there. There's not a challenge I've not seen. I don't understand gold. I do not understand watches. I don't even wear a watch. So I invest in supercars and real estate. End of. That is it. And the only other investment I'll invest in is my own brand, because that's my biggest return. My business model is an 85% profit rate. You give me a room, I'll show you how to make money. There's no expenses. It's just people paying a membership. It's just a service-based business instruction. So it's a very profitable model. So for me, it's very easy to lay out on what I have to do. And I don't have to worry about the market's doing, what the government's doing. I couldn't care less what the government are doing. I really couldn't care less. I mean, if you want to, the goal in life for business, people overcomplicate it. And I'm all for people who've got masterminds for this, masterminds for that, and so forth. But it's quite simple. Find something you love that you do, because if you don't love what you do, you won't do it in the first place. You won't put the hours in. When you have the challenges, which will come up, you won't take them head on. Find something you love what you do. So in your case, maybe it would have been boxing. And then you put all the hours into it and work out how you can make 6-figure income, not gross turnover, because people keep talking about turnover in our sector. It's very strange for me. Turnover is vanity, profit is sanity. So you want 6 to 7 figures profit. That's what you need to nail. Doing something you love, your passion, your profession, your career or hobby into what you love. Otherwise, you won't put the hours in. And that's exactly what I've done. Nail that. Once you've nailed that down, which is not hard to do, you then take that money and you learn basic principles of property investing. You don't need, if you want to do Airbnb, service accommodation, all the rest of it, that's fine. But what's been proven in time is everyone needs a roof over their head. The government, you want to be almost in bed with them. When they get to the stage where the country's so overpopulated and they're going to buy their house or rent them off you for crazy money and do all the maintenance, for all the taxes we pay, you might as well get some benefit from that. So I envision all my properties in the end will be managed and rented out by the the government, the councils, and they'll be paying above market value. That's starting to happen. They can't deal with the immigration. They can't deal with the lack of building. The babies being bred too quick, then the houses are being built. So it's a no-brainer for me. 6-figure, 7-figure profit in what you love, invest in real estate, 2-3 bedroom homes, keep it very simple. And then once you own £10 million worth of property, whether it's leveraged or not, leverage meaning mortgage debt on it, work out how to get a 5% return on that, and you've got yourself £500,000 a year coming in passive income, and you never have to work again. Money works for you. You don't have to work for money. It's as simple as that.
Off the 10 million portfolio. So your first target is 10 million, really?
So what I teach my clients is to go for 10 million. Initially, they're like, whoa, that's a lot. It's not. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's 30, 40 houses, isn't it? And you're going to have 20% on that, which your down payment, at least 20 to 30% on that, which you're going to have to put in. So if interest rates, you say your mortgage is 5%, you've got to work out how to get an extra 5%, so a 10% return, and you'll be fine. So if you've got £10 million of real estate, property, depending on where you're watching this, and you've got a 5% return coming in, whatever the base rate's doing, whether it's 7, 8%, you always, because rents will go up in accordance to the base rate, then you can work out all these people whinging at the moment, base rate's 5.25% in the UK. When's it going to go down to 0.1? It will never go down to 0.1 again. That was unusual times. When I bought my first house, Frankie, it was 6.5%. That was considered cheap. The governments have to reward the savers, the elderly, the pensions. They've got to give back. 5% is cheap. That is normal. So they've got to stop whinging and accept it. So you've got to find out how you can get a 10% return. So you've got that 5% freedom there. £10 million of property, 5% income from it, profit on the rent. You've got yourself $500K a year coming in. You don't have to worry about money ever again. So if I could go back, I'd be a bit more sensible with it. I've obviously took it to a crazy level, but I just teach people, depending on what your goals are. If you want a less stressful life and an easier map to do it, 6-7 your income, get to 10 million, cap it off, make sure you've got 500,000 a year profit coming in, and you're done.
Because this is what you said to me when we talk a lot in the DMs, and you give me a lot of advice and guidance on business stuff, and kind of mentored me through it. And you said to me, Frankie, look, 10 million, if I had my time again, 10 million and I'd be out.
Stop, yeah.
But then on this podcast, we've had another further conversation, and now we're going towards $1 billion. So is it a case of when you get to 10 million, you would have been out, but because you've gone so far past 10 million now, you're like, well, we might as well just keep going now because I'm on a trajectory here.
I've had a very abnormal life. I mean, that's fair to say. And I'm very privileged. I mean, I believe in the law of attraction. I can't explain my life other than that because it's been mental, isn't it? Who gets all this, meeting friends with the most famous people in the world at 18, driving all your goals coming to reality that you're writing down at 13 years old and manifesting when you're 18, where you got your Ferrari, you got your house, and you do dominate your niche and so forth. You become the most famous person in your niche. It's strange. Everyone wants to be your friend in the world. The biggest stars in the world are calling me up. So I do believe in the law of attraction. But anyone can do it. Now, the reason I just don't think, me and Rob Moore, we're close mates. We speak most days. We got onto a taxi. I looked at Rob and he's dressed in his Alexander McQueen stuff, bless him. Yeah. I dress in a tracksuit. I'm just tracksuit millionaire, they call me. Yeah. And we're always working all the time. I said, Rob, let's be honest, we're not normal. And he's like, no, we're not effing normal, are we? We're both the same age, with similar interests. We're just not normal. For us, it's not the money. It's not the material things. We've got all that. It's like a point scoring system. So what else would we get to do every day, Frank? I mean, I've said it before on podcasts, right? There's only so many holidays you can take. So many times you can go to the gym before you wreck your body. So making money is not because of the money. It's because I can change lives. I can help other people start a business, scale a business, invest in property, and I enjoy doing that. I love watching kids get their black belts, the parents crying, adults crying, people losing weight, and seeing all these stories coming in. My kid was underconfident, now that's what drives me. The money point is the point scoring system that enables everything to happen. Money's not real. It's not a thing. It's a tool. It's like a hammer. You can use a hammer to hammer a nail in, or you can kill someone with it. Money's either going to make you a greater person or a worse person than what you are. Like I do a lot for children's hospices. Me and Simon Cowell, I did a lot of money. I work with him closely for his charity, Together for Shorter Lives. And my cars, I get all the time. I get a phone call. Could you dash to the hospice, please? We got a mum. This happened just a few weeks ago. We got a mum who's dying, and her dream is to see her child He's a supercar fan, be in a Ferrari or Lamborghini. Can you make it happen, Matt? And we don't think she's going to survive more than 2 days, and she wants to witness her son. I'm there, you know, and I bring a Ferrari and a Lamborghini, and we drop everything, all our plans. That makes you feel really flipping good. You know, I lost my mum to breast cancer, which she was 56, I was 32. And no money in the world. I was worth 30 million then, cash. No money in the world could save her. I had all the best professors, the best experimental drugs, 50,000 at a time. Coffin goes on the ground. You realise what really flipping matters. So now I pay for a lot of private operations for people I hear suffering from breast cancer or on the NHS waiting list, stuff all that. Boom. A lot of the time I don't even know it's me that's paid for it. I do it through my wife and so forth. And we hear these causes and we go out there. And I learned from this when Micheal Jackson was paying for kids' funerals. Parents couldn't afford their children die of cancer, couldn't afford to bury their kids. And you know, it kind of rubs off on you. Who you hang around with is who you're going to become. Your network's your net worth, and it's so true. So for me, it's not about the money. It's about what I can do to change lives. And the money is the byproduct for me changing people's lives.
Yeah. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Once you get to this level where you have this mindset, you want to help people, it kind of just all keeps spinning around and more money keeps returning to you. So you can do more good with it. And obviously, you know, you make yourself wealthy and you look after yourself on the way. But like, if you can touch a few other people along the way too, it's a good thing.
What else would I do every day?
Yeah.
What else can you do? There's only so many times you can take your wife to bed. I mean, it's like, what am I going to do? I can't have any more kids. I've got 6 as it is.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you don't have that purpose in life, this is when you see people like rock stars and stuff, they go off the rails, they turn to drugs or alcohol, and because they're looking for that escapism. Because when you actually get there, and I suffer from this a lot, and my wife she's very good at snapping me out of it. So I'll sit in our house. We've got an incredible mansion in Devon, and it overlooks these amazing hills. But bear in mind, this is my normality since I was 18. I have vague memories of living in the bedsit and struggling and so on. So this is my normal world. And I compare myself to my billionaire mates like Alfie Best flying around in his £7 million Aston Martin helicopter coming to visit me. He was texting me last night. He's in Monaco. And people like that. So I'm sat there looking out my window a bit down. She's like, Matt, you need to flipping wake up, man. Yeah. You made it. You got every car that's imaginable in this driveway. You don't need to do it. You can do anything you want. What's wrong with you? I'm bored. How can you be bored? You got to appreciate it. You got to look at it. And sometimes I do. I have to make an effort to remind myself. I get there. Yeah. I got franchisees. I got one of them who's been with me 22 years. A guy called Steve James. And a couple of years ago, he's very depressed, down. He's like, sir, I'm down. I don't know why. I said, how could you be down? When I met you, you had nothing. Zero. He had no money at all. Just getting by with a banged out car. Now he's living the good life, holidays all the time. He's got an amazing wife. Kids are all left home. I worked it out. I said, Steve, I'll tell you the problem you got. That goal you set back then when you were 19, 20, when you first become my franchisee, you've achieved it and beyond. You've achieved your you've arrived at where you wanted to be, and it's not like you thought it would be, was it? You've got nothing to do all day. He goes, now I'm bored out my brain. You know, my dog's just died, and I was enjoying that walk a day. I got nothing. I don't have to teach anymore. My business runs itself, and so now I've got him invested in property and to keep himself entertained. And he's only 50, and he's like, yeah, well, we worked it out. He's made it. So this whole thing that success is a journey, not a destination. When you do get there, it's like, is that it?
Yeah,
really? Because all that really matters is your family, your kids, and your wife, and your health. Everything else is just absolute nonsense.
How have you gone about building this franchise model and putting it in 1,800 hands? I mean, 1,800 franchises is a hell of a lot of franchises to put in. It's like, you know, I'm sure the only other big franchise I can think of that have probably more than that, probably 5,000-10,000, is things like McDonald's, obviously. But like for a martial arts school to go into 1,800 locations, you know, how it
just organically happened. It's been going so long now. I got in this game so young, and I was the pioneer. One thing Michael used to say, be a pioneer, don't be a follower. So no one else was doing this stuff. And people try and copy me all the time, and then they give up. Because we are a brand, and parents will...
You've kicked the can so far ahead now, it's impossible to catch up 1,800 locations, isn't it?
It's just organically. We got MF University, which is producing the instructors. That's going on today. I'm not involved in any of that. I've got people who can teach better. I've not taught class for 17 years. What do I want to do that for? I've got people who can do better for that. They're on the mat every night doing that for me. I love marketing. That's my passion. So they always look for me for doing that. And it's quite interesting because a recent event I run a Health and Wealth Summit, and I have like 300 entrepreneurs come. Nigel Farage spoke at my last one, and some big names. And one of my franchises was there, and he makes a lot of money. He's my second biggest franchise. He's been with me over 20 years. Personal trainer when he first came on board had nothing. And he says, people said to him about, what's it like being a franchisee? He says, it's fantastic. So don't you begrudge paying Matt all this money every month, commission, in basically renting his name and his brand in the system? No, I don't, because I live the life I want to live. And at 5 o'clock, I can clock off and I can go in for a meal with my kids and my wife and watch TV, knowing that my eccentric franchisor, Matt Fiddes, is working to 1 a.m, bringing us the latest social media trend or the latest publicity stunt or the latest thing that's going to make us money. So it's a perfect partnership.
Yeah.
He does what I don't want to do. I don't want to be getting up and doing what Matt does, where he lives and breathes and falls asleep with the phone in his hand. Matt loves that. That's not for me. I just want to have my family, 9 to 5, retire rich, and he's taking care of that for us. We just got to follow what he says.
Yeah.
I thought, a smart guy. I didn't realise that. Simon Stovall, yeah, clever lad.
So what would your advice be to most people? Do you think there's a certain type of person that should look to be a franchisee, and there's a certain type of people that should look to being a business owner? Or
so ownership responsibility is a key thing, isn't it? So being a franchisee is great because all the mistakes I've made, I'm literally telling them, don't do this, don't do this, do this, do this, do this. So what I've done in 27 years, they could do in 5. It's as simple as that. As long as they listen to me and get on with it and stop whinging and worrying about distractions like the media and the TV and the stunts and the agenda of getting people to eyeballs on them to sell advertising. So long as they focus on what they're telling, they're going to be okay. So being a franchisee business owner is the way to go. Now, it's not for everyone. Being a franchisee is great because you kind of don't have to do everything. All the marketing's done for you. You've got someone who's been there and done it, who's got built-in mentor and partnership with you. So the ideal situation. But it's not for everyone. Some people are just quite happy taking the job.
I'm not saying that in your franchise it doesn't happen, but in a lot of franchises, I don't really think their marketing's all that much good. Like they're good at selling franchises, but they're not good at putting people in your things. I mean, I have a client at the moment, one of my one-to-one clients, and I stopped him opening another Pilates franchise with this brand because their marketing was shit. So I'm like, mate, we've got to get this one from 130 to 200 members, and we've got to scale that for you. We don't want to be opening up this other one over here in this next postcode to try and repeat that process when we haven't even done it in this one yet. Yeah. So it's like, we had problems with him where like the web page on the website didn't even have the wrong phone number on, had the wrong website, wrong email. It wasn't even for that club. So I see how you create media, but I wouldn't say that was the epitome of the franchise trade. I would say like you're not all McDonald's and Matt Fiddes gyms. What about these other brands that aren't doing that?
Because they focus on step 3 of business, service, too much. They get too obsessed with the punch being in the right place, or they think the higher they can kick, the more students are going to come in. Or the bodybuilder thinks the bigger muscles he can get, the more people are going to come to the gym. It's an example for you.
Yeah.
Whereas the 3 areas of business, number 1 has to be marketing, 2, sales, 3, service. People focus too much on what they get to do, but not what they have to do to get there. So unless you're good at marketing, you've got no students to service in the first place. So you need to be a genius at that. Now my franchises are like it because I take care of that side for them. So they just have to focus on service, turning up, delivering amazing classes, going home. They know that my office will be sorting out and looking out for the latest trends and so forth with my network. But yeah, that people focus too much on, like, good example, I won't mention the name of the organization, but I did their podcast recently. It'd be fair to say, I'm sure they would agree with me, that their systems are outdated. Now, they are a massive franchise network for coaches around the world. And they need to bring their system from the dark ages to where they are now. They're still teaching yellow pages and things like that.
Wow.
And I think...
And people, and just to put it into context, people are paying for this.
Yeah, and do you know what? I got this bugbearing thing about this whole personal development sector at the moment. I think it's born out of what happened in 2020, is that everyone's trying to be a coach, consultant, mentor. Everyone wants to be a franchise, their business. You can't franchise something out unless you've flipping got social proof, at least 5 years account where you've made decent money, and so you can ethically do it. That's how it used to be. When I used to sell a franchise, Frank, the lawyers at the other end for the franchisee buying it would say, can we see your bank accounts? Can you disclose them to us? That don't happen anymore. I don't get that anymore because it's so well known we do so well. But I see people doing like martial arts franchises right now. I know they've not made any money. It's fake it till you make it nonsense.
Right.
So you rent the big building, have the nice car, flashy adverts. People think the big building equals money, which it doesn't. Why don't people ask? I'm not picking on martial arts franchise, but anything, masterminds. I know a lot of people out there, I'm sure you do, never actually flipping made it in anything. Yeah. They're running these mastermind courses. Well, no one asks them.
Well, the one thing that I've seen that's common, like, I mean, I'll run through them. The kind of red flags that I think, it's like the Forbes feature. That's a red flag to me. It's like the
New York Times bestseller.
So the ClickFunnels Award, I'll give you an example. That's on turnover, not on profit. So anyone could turn over $1 million in a funnel and make that look like it's something, right? But how much profit was in that funnel? What, 100 grand? What? So you got an award and you say you're a seven figure fucking thingy, but you've not done 7 figures. Do you understand?
Yeah.
There's people out there that sell a business. They get a certain exit, but the exit is like it just touches 7 figures, so they can say they had the 7-figure exit, but it's not 9 million. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of all these. It's smoke and mirrors. I mean, the way that I've done, I do a mentorship, a one-to-one mentorship, and the way that I do my one-to-one mentorship is I took on 5 clients in different fucking niches to prove my concept. And, you know, they've all given me video testimonials for that. Yep. And then I go again, and I go again, and I go again. And it's not a big operation. It's not my only money-making thing. I've got contentremoval.com. I make money out of that. You know what I'm saying? I make money out of business first, more than mentorships. But I do enjoy the mentorships. And I do think there is a place for mentorship. But in the same token, I understand exactly what you're saying. It's about, is the person that's mentoring you done and achieved the things that you want to achieve, and have they opened up the doors that you think they can? And if they haven't, then you can't go there.
It fascinates me, Frankie. I sat opposite someone just like this chatting, and they said, Matt, can I pick your brains on marketing? I said, sure, what's the problem, buddy? I need to get some more members in because I'm getting a bit low. I'm like, geez, man, you're selling, and I won't say what sector it is, it's not fair, but because there's loads doing this. You're selling masterminds. You got like the 50,000 one, the 250,000 mastermind. You got a £500,000 mastermind, and they're rammed with people paying you anywhere from 11 grand to 30,000 a year for your advice. Do you think you should be doing this when you're telling me that you're struggling to keep the lights on in the same sector yourself? And they're like, well, you know, who's the idiot? Is it them not doing their due diligence on me, or is it me? Who's earning money from them giving me money for this mastermind? But for me, Frankie, this doesn't sit right. You know, I think you need to be there. I've done it, and there is a part of the due diligence. The public are a bit silly where they turn up and they assume the guy on stage is a multi-millionaire. They assume he's got this just because he's got a Lamborghini. I know people hire a Lamborghini for a couple of weekends at a time for photo shoots. It's very strange. In fact, one of them, and I won't say, it won't be fair because he's a good guy, and. Yeah, I just don't like that. Be ethical about it. But, you know, do stuff. And with me, I run a mentorship, but I don't niche it down. It's just entrepreneurship and investing. I don't believe you need a course of this, a course for that, a course for this. That's my own personal belief. I know I've got friends who do that very well. I won't associate with them unless I think that they're awesome, like people like Rob and stuff. But with me, I just want to teach what I'm good at. I can't teach you gold. I can't teach you watches, but I can teach you pretty much everything to do with property. Don't need a HMO course. I can teach you that in an hour. Yeah. So it's like service accommodation, 90 minutes. Yeah. You know, don't need a 3-day masterclass and a monthly mastermind for that. Social media marketing, okay, that's an ongoing journey. Probably only need an hour a month and part of my mastermind for that one. Wow, so you got no money down? Not really a thing, is it? Let's be honest. You bridging loan, you get it. Buying it 25% below market value, haggling with people, knowing how to offer the value, get the sale over the line quick. I mean, that's half a day for me to teach you how to do that. Yeah. Mainstream media mastery, probably need a day with you, an hour a month over the course of a year. That will do that one. Find your story and how to get out there. So that's it. I mean, that's what that's what I run. I just charge $5,000. I do everything. One stop shop. And it's just the way it works for me. I don't want to be running all the courses for this course. And if they do want to go more in depth into it, so they want to be an expert at service accommodation or rent to rent or something like that, then I will send them to people like Rob Moore, who I know is genuine, decent.
Got it
going. Yeah. I've seen Rob's financial. I know he's the real deal, you know. That's why we work together. Rob won't associate himself with anyone else who's a fakey as well. So, yeah, it goes on out there. And it's sad. And I pick up the horror stories, Frankie. I'm sure you do too. Where got one lady, man, she spent £151,000 on courses and masterminds. She's now living, single mum, broke down her marriage in a caravan with her 2 kids. And she's on mine now, and I'm just trying to sort her out and get on the right path. And it's all this, you can buy property when you've got no income coming in. No, you can't. You can't do that. You got dangerous credit rating, bad credit rating. You've got no income coming in. You're going to be able to convince someone, everyone competing for these deals and trying to convince landlords to rent. That's flipping difficult unless you've got a bit of credibility for yourself. You know, I got clients. I got one client who's got 29 rents, and they do incredible, but it's took them time, and it's hell on earth. It's like running a agency. They tell me it's proper full on managing that and the cleaners and everything else. So for me, I think it's all overcomplicated. We didn't have this 27 years ago when I started. It was just 3-day events. There was no pitching. I don't like pitching, by the way. I don't pitch.
Yeah,
you want to work with me, great. If you don't, that's great too.
I hate those seminar events which aren't about the teaching. They're about a pitch fest, and then Gary Vee comes on at the end after stay fucking 3, and then he does a talk, and then everyone else up until that point has been selling a course, a mastermind, or this or that, fucking everything. I believe when you pay for an event, it should just be all value then. You know, and if you want to reach back out to that person, get some coaching or mentorship 1-to-1 or be part of his group, you just ask him and just do it. You don't need to pitch on it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
you got to be ethical and humble. Like my lot, my franchisees, they can call me direct. They WhatsApp me constantly. I have 1,000 messages a day. My clients just contact me. I might take 72 hours to get back to you, but that's worst case. I'll always get back to you. And keeping that personal touch is what's going to keep that client coming back and paying, not leaving a bad taste in the mouth. Because it's not that difficult to get rich. It's not that hard. You just need to be around the right people and follow the right proven systems.
I think what you've said today sums it up. Is literally like pick one system, one process, one kind of
blinkers on.
Put one mentor to model, and it's like, and just once you've got that system and you've got that mentor and you've got that person you're following, just follow that and just keep implementing that. But it's like at the moment, everyone could just go and invest in crypto because it's hit like new all-time highs. But you're missing the whole point. Like that's taking you out of your lane and your window of competence. We all have a window of competence where we're fucking geniuses in this part. You with, you know, it's franchise, make franchisees money. You make money, you make the brand, and then you take your money and you dump it into property. You know it. That's your window of competence. You ain't going buying. You haven't gone to set up a private jet hire company, have you? Or some other. You're not investing in anything. You just do everything you do. Like you said, from an out. I don't find it boring, but you're saying it's boring, but it's the same shit. But over and over again, and that's how you repeat success. Yeah, and it's just
people get distracted along the way.
Yeah.
Like how many marketing messages we get hit by? I think it's 40,000 a day. An average person gets hit by. So it's very easy to get distracted and get sold the next course, the next thing, the next program, the next online course, or this mentor. And you just get on with it. And
I just want to say openly, honestly, there's nothing wrong with a mentorship, a course, a mastermind, buying a book, buying a PDF, buying information. Nothing wrong with that. It's just who are you buying the information off?
Do your due diligence.
Who are you buying it off? Why are you buying it? Are you going to take action on the stuff that you buy? Like, don't come to me for any of my mentorship or you to any of your mentorship or any of your products if you're not going to take action on what is said in the product. Because then you're setting yourself up for failure as well on the back of it. So it's kind of obvious, isn't it, really?
You've got to keep it simple. I think the more authentic you are, the more genuine you are, people will just buy from you anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they just... Yeah. Do you know, it's interesting, Frank, when I'm on stage, a lot of entrepreneurs, they just talk about the Lambos, the private jets, like you just said, the helicopters, and people are not interested in that. When you start talking, when I talk about my dark years, when mum was dying, and our doctors put me on antidepressants, I had 2 types of antidepressants, And I was put on sleeping tablets, and they gave me diazepam, Valium, basically, throughout the day to keep me calm.
It's fucking good stuff that I had it on an operation.
Oh, yeah. And everything went wrong that year. I had a sibling who tried to copy what I was doing, and me and my family haven't spoken since. My wife couldn't handle it anymore. She filed for divorce. Micheal Jacksons passed away suddenly on us, and everything was. And then Mum calls me and said, "I've got 6 months to live, son, because of breast cancer." So when I started talking about that, and how I've been on antidepressants, 2 types of antidepressants, how I tried to commit suicide 3 times. I couldn't sleep, got sleeping issues, sleeping tablets, and I got all the money. People are sitting forward in their chairs thinking, I can relate to this guy. He's normal. I'm on antidepressants, I got sleeping problems. My parents died. My grandparents died. I'm struggling with the loss of this. My marriage broke up. I've been through a divorce. I had to fight for my kids. I had to fight for my kids too. And they think, I can work with him. He gets me. Rather than someone who's so flippant detached that they just can't get it. I think that's why I do so well in this sector, because I just tell them as it is. Yeah. They may not like what I have to tell them sometimes. Like, don't keep picture me. I'll come off stage like, I've got this new idea. Don't need any more new ideas. Everything's been flipping done. Unless you want to go to Mars like Elon Musk or come up with some crazy thing. Everything in this world's pretty much been done. Just Google it, YouTube it, it's been done. Pretty much. Just do what you love and just get on with it. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Stop pitching me freaking dog lead ideas or the latest sensor, because people will steal your idea and run off it. You can't really patent these things. People steal them anyway.
It's not even your zone of genius, is it? Like at the end of the day.
No, why do you want to do that for? I mean, you just find something that's already been done, make it better, and off you go.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Repeatable system. You make your money in your gyms and you make your franchisees money. You take that money, you put it.
It's a win-win-win-win-win-win.
Put it in profit.
The franchisees make money only if I only make money if they make money.
Yeah.
And then their instructors, who are all self-employed instructors, they only make money because they're cut into all the income streams, like 16 income streams in Matt Fiddes martial arts schools. If the franchisee's making money, so it's a win-win-win-win all the way.
And you've designed the franchise with 16 income streams in it. So like supplements,
joining fees, supplements, merchandise, all different types of levels, exams, gradings, events, championships, competitions, in-house, product of the month. Yeah, you name it. It's all there. One-to-ones, birthday parties,
I like
special
it.
Guest appearances.
You just basically you're giving your money making system every chance of success, aren't you? Like any franchisee that buys that system has got 16 ways to make income, whereas most people that sell a franchise, they've got like 2 or 3, 4 ways, if that, in their franchise.
You've got to have multiple streams of income within your business model, then you're always going to be okay. And then we have an upgrade membership too. They have different colours of uniform, and they learn some of the great stuff like nunchucks and things like that. Yeah. And they pay a higher premium for it, smaller classes. And it works. And I always tell my franchises too, and it's more important, anybody watching this podcast, don't focus on the money. People who focus on money just fall down. It don't sustainable. It's not going to work. Focus on the service or product, and then the money will be the byproduct. And that's what I always tell them. Outstanding classes. Do what I tell you marketing-wise. To get people to sign up on the first, because they're underconfident. That's why they're coming in. No one's going to be, I'll be back. I mean it, other than Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's it. When people say, I'll be back, I'm thinking about it. What's there to think about? You've got a kid who's being bullied at school, or is underconfident, or you want to lose weight. What's there to think about? Let's go. Yeah. And take the risk out. Give them 30 days free, money back guarantee. Give them a free uniform. If you're not good at what you do, show them. De-risk it for them completely.
Yeah, make your product so good that...
Irresistible offer.
Yeah, irresistible offer. That's perfectly summed up.
Why would they want to walk away when it's a no-brainer? What if my kid don't like it? Well, you got a whole month. What if I don't like it? Well, you got this. What if my husband don't agree? Well, you got a whole month. But what about cost? There ain't no cost. Just hand the uniform back. You won't want to because it's so damn good, because we're the best in the world at what we do. So we sign everyone up on the first time. There's no reason why not to. And we can afford to do that.
Because you can just remove all the objections.
Yeah. There's no objections. You give me one. There isn't one objection. Why wouldn't you want to sign up?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You can't make the night. There's a learner class, mile and a half up the road. I've done the other night. So there's always a way. And we make a family brand. And I think that's important to create a family, not price it right. So the more family members that come on board, the cheaper it becomes. Because families that kick together, they stick together. When you look at my black belt exams, which is many years in, when you look around the room, it's all the families who've been there. Because to make a quitting decision, it's very easy to do as an individual to say, I don't want to go tonight. We all go through these peaks of valleys of motivation. But as a family, for all 4, 5, 6 of you to agree to quit, that's unlikely going to happen. So we make it very family appealing. in what we do. And all my brands under the MF banner, not just the martial arts.
I like that. Is such a genius move, because like
Family classes.
any of you listening to this can implement that strategy into your business from this podcast. You can implement that, and that's what I want these podcasts to be. I want these to be like podcasts where you can grab hold of information within it, and I think this podcast today has so much of that. You can just take different parts of this, whether it's structures, the plan. I loved when we went through the 3 plans for life, and I know someone could take that and implement in that today, and that's the kind of content I want to create. But I like to ask this question at the end of every podcast, because I think it sums up and really epitomizes the conversation that we've had. But if there's one pearl of wisdom, so if you had to check out the world tomorrow, but there's one pearl of wisdom that you could just leave everyone in this podcast that would move them 1% further forward from today, what would that be to you?
Whatever you dream and believe, you can conceive. It can be done. Whatever you can manufacture in your mind. Remember the famous saying where Walt Disney's son was asked, I don't know if you know, but Walt Disney never actually physically saw Disney World. So Walt Disney's son was asked by the media, Mr. Disney, isn't it a shame that Walt didn't get to see this? And he said, he saw it first, that's why you see it now.
Wow.
He conceived it, yeah.
Wow.
He did see it. Yeah.
Wow.
So whatever you can believe, your mind is capable of incredible things. And you just got to, whatever you focus on is what you get. And just be careful. Get the right mentors, the right people. Don't get overwhelmed with information. Keep it simple.
Yeah, don't get too much information. I mean, too much information makes you not execute on anything. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you coming on. And guys, do me a solid favor, subscribe to this on every channel and share it with a friend. Just take this podcast today, share it with someone, like just WhatsApp it to someone, put it in someone else's ear. That's all I'm asking you to do. I'm giving you this content for free. I just want you to put it in as many people's ears as possible for me. And that's all I'm asking. So much love. Guys, do me a solid favor. Drop a comment below this video and let us know who you want on the podcast next.